Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a very different style of video, but a style of video that is all too familiar if you've been watching the channel for any number of years. Back in the day, we used to do a series called Dear Nero. Every single week, every single Wednesday, I would answer questions submitted by you guys over on Twitter, and today being Easter, it was a very busy day, great day, in fact. Got to spend the morning with my girlfriend, and later on we went to my parents' house, and my whole family was there as well. Like, really good day overall, but not exactly a day where I have time to do a lot of stuff when it comes to making videos, so I thought today would be a good time, because it's been over a year almost, it feels like, since we've done one of these Q&As, and it's laid back, it's chill, we answer everything from like gaming to life and movies and entertainment, relationships and all that fun stuff, and if nothing else, it makes for some pretty nice background noise while you guys game, which is probably how most of you consume my videos anyway. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump on into it. The first question here is coming in from Dominic, who writes, Dear Nero, do you think one of the reasons COD is drastically losing players is because of how similar every game feels now in terms of movement and gunplay? I recently went back to play Call of Duty World War II, and the multiplayer servers are up and the gunplay and movement feel amazing. Certainly, I think that's something we don't really cover too much here in the channel or really discuss as much as we probably should, but a couple of years ago, mostly Modern Warfare 2019, which was like the great shift in the COD franchise essentially, where they decided all the games were going to be kind of homogenized, skill-based matchmaking was going to take over, Warzone was going to be put at the forefront, and instead of earning things in the game, they want you to buy things in the game by using the shop. You know, that was like the great shift in the COD series. So one of the things I don't think we really discussed nearly enough is how similar every game kind of feels now compared to back in the day. When I first got into COD, it was Call of Duty 4 in 2007, and the next game after that was World at War, and while they were very similar, Treyarch definitely copied a lot of the blueprint that Call of Duty 4 put out there. World at War still felt so different. You know, it was the same COD experience, but it was World War II, the engine was a little bit different because they did different things back in the day, but most importantly, in terms of tone and feel and gunplay and just aesthetic in general, there was a big difference back then between Infinity Ward and Treyarch, but now, whether we're talking Infinity Ward, Treyarch, or even Sledgehammer Games, sure, the games may look a little bit different. I mean, Vanguard compared to Black Ops Cold War compared to Modern Warfare, but still the games all feel very similar. That's one of those things I think Activision did very intentionally. Their idea going into it was going to streamline the entire developmental process, which was going to help the games get out faster and hopefully less buggy, but obviously that hasn't really worked out. But also it was going to kind of make it more streamlined for the fans. You know, if you're somebody who played a game like Black Ops Cold War and then maybe haven't played COD for a couple of years and you pick up the new one, it's not going to be too different in terms of feel and gameplay, and it's kind of like riding a bike, right? You can jump right back on into it. So I feel like they had good intentions, believe it or not, going into it, but it does kind of make each game feel kind of samey, and you lose a little bit of that variety and that replay value that you used to have, where you spent the entire year playing an Infinity Ward game, but oh boy, here comes Treyarch's game, which is going to be similar but feel pretty different. You know, we lost that, and as a result, every COD kind of feels similar with a different coat of paint on it. And to go back to your question there, I certainly think that that's the reason why people are leaving the franchise. I mean, Warzone's doing great right now, but when multiplayer was like at the forefront of Black Ops 6 and that was leading the way, that's when we were losing all those players. And I certainly think that on top of skill-based matchmaking and everything else we've covered here on the channel, I certainly think the homogenation between the games and the lack of variety and the lack of soul almost between the games could definitely be a big reason as to why people are getting burnt out. The next question is coming in here from Manix FC, who writes, Dear Nero, will you revisit X Defiance before it's gone forever? Absolutely, positively, yes. In fact, you're going to see an X Defiant video here on the channel sooner rather than later, but yeah, we're going to be covering more X Defiant stuff before the game goes away forever, especially given some of the recent news that just came out, so stay tuned for that. The next question is coming in from Rugged, who writes, Dear Nero, what are some things you like from other live service games like Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, and etc. that you'd like Activision to adopt with the Call of Duty franchise? I think the biggest thing overall is I want the game to actually feel like a live service game. They call COD a live service game, but I've said it before here on the channel, I feel like they're more masquerading as live service because actual live service games feel really freaking good, and those are some of my favorite games to play. If I'm playing an online game, I love live service. Overwatch is a great example of that. Stuff I did literally back in 2016 is still relevant now with Overwatch 2, and Overwatch 2 has been made better by actually bringing back loot boxes, believe it or not. Their new monetization model with Overwatch 2 was so freaking bad that we're all excited about loot boxes returning, but they did it in a really good way. You could earn loot boxes every single week, up to 13, I think. You couldn't buy them whatsoever, and then what you got is what you got, and you always got something that you didn't have, whether that was a skin or a spray or an emote or a highlight intro or whatever. You got these items out of the loot boxes for free, and you didn't have to pay for them, right? These were actual shop bundle items that you would just get for free. Of course, they are random, and you're not guaranteed to get the specific thing that you want, but still, something is better than nothing. It's gotten to the point now in the games industry where we're happy to just get random loot. And I saw a bunch of pushback on that, saying that's promoting gambling and this, that, and the other, but it's not. It straight up isn't. It's the same as any other video game out there where you go and kill a boss out in the world and the boss drops you loot. Well, that loot's randomized and you get what you get, right? And the same thing's true of the new loot boxes that they have in Overwatch. I actually kind of like them quite a bit because because you just play the game, you get free stuff you otherwise wouldn't have gotten. There you go. It's objectively better than what they had previously. But on top of that, the biggest thing, to get back to it, is things I did in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, all the way up to 2025 is all relevant when I play Overwatch. The same is true of a game like World of Warcraft, for example. The stuff I did back in when did I start World of Warcraft? I think 2014. The stuff I did back then is still relevant now, which is pretty freaking cool. When they put out a content update, mostly cosmetic stuff anyway, when they put out a content update like a raid or new dungeons or stuff out in the world and whatnot, they can release something today in 2025, and I can go back in 2030, 5 years from now, and farm that same content, try to get those mounts, try to get those pieces, try to get that transmog and whatever for my character. Like, when you have a proper live service game, there's almost unlimited content for you to play around with. You know, everything you do matters, and that sense of accomplishment and that feeling you get from like grinding these different things is good, man. You feel rewarded and it's great. But with Call of Duty, it doesn't feel like a real live service game, because what I do in this year's game is completely irrelevant the next time another Call of Duty game comes out. And there's talk that with COD 2025, they're going to have carry forward like we had back during Modern Warfare 3, and that could be cool, but that's something that just should be around, period. And I'm not talking necessarily about having all the guns, right? That would just cause a lot of bloat like we see in Warzone, obviously. But when it comes to things like your operators skins, shop bundles, battle passes, weapon camos, event camos, dark matter, all that stuff, I should be able to use Orion camo. Assuming I did the challenges in Black Ops 6, I should be able to use Orion camo from Modern Warfare 2 in Black Ops 6. There's really no reason why they couldn't do it. All the studios are working closer together now than ever before. There's no reason why they can't do that, besides the fact that it would hurt their bottom line. The big thing about COD is, again, they masquerade as a live service game, but in reality, it's all about getting you to buy the brand new title, getting you to grind the new camos, and getting you to buy the new bundles. The one exception, of course, would be Warzone, where the stuff you got back in the day is still relevant, which is freaking cool. You know, going back to the Return of Verdansk here, like, I'm running around as Michael Myers most of the time because that's awesome. I got Michael Myers in Modern Warfare 3. I can use it in Black Ops 6 Warzone. That's cool. Why can't we do that in multiplayer? If this was a proper live service game, we could, but they choose not to because, again, they want you buying the new game every year, the new battle passes every year, the new shop bundles every year, and grinding the new camos every year in a way to build up audience retention. So that's what they do, essentially. So to answer your question, what would I like them to do? Stop doing all that bullshit and make it so stuff we do in one game carries forward into the next one. That's how proper live service works. The next question is coming in here from Xenoslayer, who writes, Dear Nero, what level are you in Fallout 76 and have you done the raid? I think I'm level 450 or something like that. So we got really into Fallout 76. Like, we played it when the game first came out. Let's admit it, the game sucked when it first came out. It was not good. And after all these years, I decided to go back after all the updates and the changes and all this, that, and the other. And the game was fun. I mean, it's not the same as a proper Fallout game where you're getting immersed in the open world, you're playing single player and whatnot, but you're able to play with other people. You can play solo if you want, but you can play with other people. You can do these different things out in the world. There's these events and everything. The game was really fun and really addicting. To answer your question about the raid, yes, we've run through that raid and beaten it like 30 or so times now, to the point where it's not even remotely difficult. And that's kind of like the reason why I stopped playing the game, which sucks. Like, on one hand, I like games where I can just continue to play nonstop. There's always that next thing to do, next thing to grind for, and everything like that. But we got to the point, and it took maybe a month only for us to get like super high leveled, and we got all the best gear, essentially, like the best power armor. We got the Gatlin plasma, whatever the name of that weapon is. I always forget the name of it, but you guys know what I'm talking about if you play the game. And so we're decked out in our full like X1 power armor. Then eventually we get the power armor from the raid, and we got all that geared out and everything, complete overeater set. I didn't want to do a bloodied build or anything like that. And it got to the point where we blitz through the raid. It's not even difficult. Like, if we go fast, like, that raid's done in 15-20 minutes, and then at that point we're just farming the raid over and over and over, because it's the fastest and objectively best way to build your character, get the best loot, get the best modifications for your weapons and your armor and everything. It's the best. It really is. And once you do that, you realize, well, all those open world events that were really fun while you're leveling up and like new to the game and everything, well, they're all pretty irrelevant now. They're just kind of a waste of time as compared to just grinding the raid. You know, it was fun for a bit. It really was, like, going through the entire story, going through some of the expeditions, doing the dailies, the events and everything, the holidays, like Fastnacht was not too long ago. That was really fun. I only got one glowing mask, despite the fact that I did the event like 100 times, it felt like. But, like, you know, Fallout 76 is really fun, but I did get to the point where I don't think my character is necessarily ever going to get really stronger unless I wanted to do a completely different build for some reason. But like any game, there's metas and everything. And I feel like I'm going on too long with Fallout 76, but I freaking love the game. It's really fun, but I've kind of put it down, at least for the time being, because I feel like we got to that point where there's not really anywhere higher for me to go besides just like going out and exploring and having fun, which ultimately I suppose is the point of a Fallout game. But just in terms of like player progression and everything, I kind of reached that pinnacle, and it only took me like a month, maybe a month and a half. The next question is coming in from a fantastic YouTuber who you're going to be seeing here on the channel probably pretty soon. E-Rock on Tech, who writes, Dear Nero, what games currently bring you the most joy? So kind of going back to the previous one, any Fallout game, period. Like, anyone knows me, they kind of make fun of me for it almost, especially my brother, my friends and whatnot. But like, I love the Fallout series so much that I always have Fallout music live streams playing on my phone or on my desktop if I'm here working or doing whatever, playing games, doesn't matter. Always listening to Fallout music. So Fallout is like my comfort game. It feels like home when I play that, whether it's Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, doesn't matter, even 76. You know, I love the Fallout franchise. World of Warcraft's always been a very comfortable game for me, just a kind of a place you can go and chill. And then, of course, the COD franchise. Typically, the current game is the most frustrating thanks to the matchmaking system and everything, but man, just like going back to World at War, and I can't be the only person that does this or has done it in the past. Have you guys ever gone back to a very nostalgic COD game that you really liked? For me, for example, World at War. And going in there and you get into a private match, you boot up, you're just you in a private match by yourself, you turn on hardcore mode so it gets rid of most of your HUD, and then you set the time limit to unlimited and you just walk around the map. You know, walk around CeeLo, walk around Upheaval, walk around Subpens, the DLC map, for crying out loud. Like any of these maps, and listening to the sounds, taking in the sights, and like kind of thinking about those memories that you had on that map back in the day. For me, World at War came out when I was like 16 or 17. Very formative years for me, right? So like going back and reliving that nostalgia, just like around every corner is another memory, for crying out loud. Like it's so freaking fun. So like the old school COD games, and then like the Fallout games, and then a lot of the Blizzard games, whether it's Overwatch, World of Warcraft, Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone. Those are some of my favorite games that bring me the most joy. The next question is coming in from Nick Wachowski, who writes, Dear Nero, do you actually enjoy the movement and mechanics in the newer CODs, or did you enjoy the slowness and no butt sliding of games like World at War to Black Ops 2? Well, those games were good for the time, and I will say I thoroughly enjoyed like the movement and the slowness, how you kind of had to like think about what you were doing a bit more, but I also enjoy Omni movement. Like, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with Omni movement. It's just like when skill-based matchmaking takes over and everybody in my lobby is just butt sliding with jackals and everything. It's annoying, dude. Like, every game feels the same, but I will say I thoroughly do enjoy being able to, like, you know, slide around that corner, or, you know, mantle up really quickly through a window, or just like the movement options that we have. It does make me feel better as a player, like when I'm doing these things and kind of capitalizing on them. But you guys like watch my gameplay and everything. It's not like I'm like one of those like super sweats or anything like that, and I put up pretty decent scores for somebody who's not like constantly butt sliding and slide canceling and this, that, and the other thing, dolphin diving around the map and everything. Like, I feel like movement in general is much more of a gimmick, and people, the thing I've always said is people put in 4 times the effort for like 1 times the outcome. Like, these people will be like sweating their asses off, like breaking their thumbs, giving themselves arthritis, and getting gunned down by like 33-year-old me who's not doing any of that stuff. Like, I feel like a lot of people buy these controllers and everything, and they try to like use the movement and break cameras and this, that, and the other, when in reality, Call of Duty is a very simple game, man. Like, you have map awareness and you have gun skill. That's pretty much it. Like, if you're aware of what's happening around you, you're paying attention to the minimap, and you actually win your gun fights, that's like 90% of COD. But people try to like take it up to the next notch by buying a special controller and changing their button layout and giving themselves arthritis by playing Claw and this, that, and the other. It's like, dude, it's not that deep. Just point and shoot, man. It's freaking Call of Duty. The next question is coming in from Luke, who writes, Dear Nero, why did my parents get divorced, and was it my fault? Jesus, that's a pretty deep question for a Dear Nero, but I do like to answer this kind of stuff. So Luke, I can tell you whether or not it was your fault. Have you, at any point in time, purchased a Black Cell Battle Pass? If so, it is absolutely your fault your parents got divorced, and that was the reason. If you never bought a Black Cell Battle Pass or any other nonsense from the shop, then your parents probably just weren't a good fit. I mean, by this day and age, like, it's actually crazy now if you see somebody whose parents are still together as compared to divorced. Like, if I look at like my general friend group, I'd say like 80% of the people I know's parents are divorced. Like, it's weird. Like, oh, look at this guy. His parents stayed together. His parents still love each other. You know, my parents are divorced, for crying out loud. So it's all too common these days, and it's actually pretty sad. The next question is going to be coming in from King, who writes, Dear Nero, not gaming, but what in the hell are the Browns going to do this season? Draft next week, and I truly don't see said plan that was promised for Garrett. I can't tell if you're taking a quarterback or just rolling with the best player available. So I don't want a quarterback. I truly don't. Like, I'm one of those people where like the Browns have drafted so many quarterbacks, and I'm not overly excited about any of the quarterbacks in this particular draft in general. And so we paid all that money, which I was actually not happy about, but we brought Garrett back. As much as I love Myles Garrett, if you look at the Detroit Lions, look at the Houston Texans, how how they turned their franchises around were those really big trades. All the picks that Detroit got from Matt Stafford is what rebuilt their entire team. All the picks that Houston got from us, the Cleveland Browns, for Deshaun Watson, which was one of the worst trade deals in NFL history, is what kind of rebuilt their team as well and made them a playoff contender. I was kind of hoping that the same thing would happen for Myles Garrett. If we could have got a whole bunch of picks for Garrett, then we're saving money and we have all these picks. We're kind of actually properly doing a rebuild. I mean, last year, what were we, 3-14? And that's with Myles Garrett. And he's like one of the best players in the league, like defensively, like top 3, maybe even like number 1. Really freaking good. Love Myles Garrett. But we were still a 3-14 team with him. He's not the problem, obviously, but there are so many other problems on the team. So for me personally, I would have much rather had them go and like get all those picks, have Garrett go to a Super Bowl contender, let him get his ring, and let us like properly rebuild our team. But because we got Garrett back, I say go with the best player available, which is not Travis Hunter. I'm one of those people, man, like I'm just like, I don't like the idea of like a two-way player in the NFL. I don't see it working. He's either going to be a really good receiver or a really good corner. I don't see him doing both. And if he's going to try to do both, and he's just going to be average at both. It's just, I don't see it happening. So for me, Abdul Carter will be freaking awesome. He's basically like a Micah Parsons almost. They wore the same number, for crying out loud. So you got Carter on one side, Myles Garrett on the other. That sounds pretty spooky. Then try to fill out the rest of the holes of our team throughout the draft, whether that's taking a quarterback later on, or maybe just rolling with Joe Flacco, maybe going ahead and using Kenny Pickett. Like, I live in Pennsylvania. Everyone around here are Steeler fans, man. They're like, oh man, Kenny Pickett was terrible. He sucks so bad. Well, name one quarterback since Ben that's done anything in Pittsburgh. Their offense is abysmal and has been ever since Ben. They've had no identity whatsoever. So to say Kenny Pickett was bad because he wasn't like lighting up the world when he played in Pittsburgh is not really a fair assessment of him, I don't think, just given the fact that Pittsburgh sucked for everybody. Like Justin Fields didn't really do that well. Russell Wilson didn't really do that well. Like any quarterback that's gone in there has not really done that great. So there's still potential for Kenny Pickett. Joe Flacco obviously can still go. I'm happy with either of those. And if we want to draft a quarterback to kind of sit behind them for a year, I'm cool with that as well. But for the second overall pick in the NFL draft this year, I want the Browns to take Abdul Carter. The next question is going to be coming in from Michael, who writes, Dear Nero, do you have any advice for someone who has gone through a serious breakup and just doesn't know what's going on with their lives? Any advice would help. Thank you. So Michael, a lot of us have gone through this in the past, and the biggest thing, and it sounds like you're kind of there right now, is when it first happens and you kind of feel lost and everything's like ridiculously rough and things are just not going well. The second worst thing you can do is just completely stagnate, and the worst thing you can do is completely just like stop your life and just ruin everything that you have going on. I've seen so many people in my personal life, they go through a breakup and immediately they get into another relationship, but this relationship is completely toxic and they're trying to make it work because they have to, spite their previous person that they were with and everything. Like, don't go down that route, man. So many people do that. Like, this couple breaks up, for example, and then the guy, like, within 2 weeks with another girl, nope, suddenly this girl's pregnant and now he has a kid that he doesn't even want with this girl that he doesn't even really like all that much. He's just trying to get back at his ex, and now he has a kid with her, and now of course they're going to try to get married to make it work, and then they get divorced. And then going back to the previous question about divorce and everything, like, it's a vicious cycle when it comes to that shit. So when you break up and have a really rough one, it sucks. Absolutely, positively. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. But like all things, it gets better over time. Like, when somebody that you're very close to dies and it feels like your world is like falling apart when that happens, and it's never going to fully heal, but over time, you don't feel as like ridiculously terrible as you did that day that it happened. They say that time heals all wounds, and it does eventually. And the same thing is true of relationships. So the worst thing you can do is just like go out there and ruin your life essentially because you want to get back at this person, or go into a complete depression mode where you just like let your life stagnate entirely and waste some of the best years of your life. So that's my advice for anyone going through that kind of a situation. The next question is coming in from Venom, who writes, Dear Nero, hope all is well with you. With Black Ops 7 or COD 2025 on the imminent announcement with leaks and GTA 6 basically going to take over the fall gaming quarter this year, would there be any interest in covering another game, and exactly how much more can COD proceed to shoot itself in the foot? So when it comes to stuff like Battlefield and GTA, we talked about that a little bit here in this video. Certainly I do want to cover it, and exactly how I'm going to cover it, I don't know. I'm very hesitant to cover anything not COD related here on the main channel. I mean, Battlefield's kind of COD adjacent, so maybe, but GTA, that's a completely different beast. Ultimately, what it comes down to, and a lot of people don't know this, you guys do because you're watching Dear Nero, for crying out loud, here in 2025, but I do have a second channel. It's NerosCinema 2 or Nero's Let's Plays, doesn't matter. Both URLs work to my understanding. and also stream on Twitch pretty much every single day. Like, we are, what, 20 days into April so far, and I've streamed like 80 hours over on Twitch in addition to the videos that I do here. So twitch.tv/NerosCinema, youtube.com/NerosCinema2. That's where you can find other things than COD. There's still COD stuff there, of course, but you'll find like Fallout and Overwatch and Borderlands and like all sorts of crazy fun stuff over there as well. So will I be covering those games? Yes. Exactly how? I'm not sure, but thankfully we still have plenty of time for me to figure that out. The next question is coming in from Sunderwire, who writes, Dear Nero, will you ever do streams on YouTube? Also, if you tried the new WoW expansion at all. So like I just said, I do stream on Twitch and on my second channel. I just said the names. So once again, twitch.tv/NerosCinema, youtube.com/NerosCinema2. You can find stuff over there. Very chill environment, nothing like the high energy stuff you see here on the channel. And have I tried the new WoW expansion? We certainly did. Yes, I started the expansion off, the War Within, with a Warlock, and we're playing that for a bit, and just, I don't know, it just, the vibes weren't there for me. It didn't suck me in the same way that some of the other expansions did. So I was playing my Warlock for a while, and it was pretty fun overall, but just, I didn't really get super into it. And then we came back, and I resurrected essentially my old main that I played for like 8 years, my Goblin Rogue, because Undermine was out. And so we came back, and then I found out that they changed up how Mythic Plus worked, and that was a bit disappointing to me. I got Keystone Master, which was always like the goal for me, was like Keystone Master. I did on a Prop Paladin, I did on a Frost DK, I did on a Mistweaver Monk. Like, I always enjoyed going for Keystone Master because my old guild fell apart and I never really found another guild to replace that. I truly do miss raiding and heroic raiding and going for ahead of the curve every single tier and everything like that. But it just, with YouTube and everything, the time commitment and the scheduling and all that, I just never found another group of people that I really enjoyed playing WoW with. So Mythic Dungeons were a great answer to that. Whether I was playing with my brother or my friend Nick or whatever, or his friends sometimes, you know, we would just be able to go through and we would just pug our way to Keystone Master, and it was super fun. But when I came back, I saw they changed up how Keystone Master worked and the mount that you get and everything. And I'm not even joking. I think it took me 7, maybe, but this is stretching it, maybe 8 total dungeons as a person who just basically had like a level capped character to get Keystone Master. And I'm like, oh, so like everyone gets Keystone Master now, huh? Like, it's not even like remotely difficult, like even the slightest. Well, that kind of sucks. And so I did some of the stuff in Undermine, like a lot of the quests in the story, and I did some of the rep farming and everything. And I didn't really do much of the raid, honestly, because again, I don't have a group to play with, and pugging raids is like the most time consuming, soulless, like not enjoyable experience ever. Like, you're just, especially as a rogue, right? You're just signing up for groups, getting declined, eventually getting in, you wipe one time, the whole group falls apart, you have to rebuild, and before you know it, 2 hours go by and you've accomplished nothing in the game. Like, you need a proper guild, I feel like, if you're going to be doing raiding. Like, I used to, you know, back in the day when I just had all the time in the world, I would just sit there and I'd pug raid, and it was fine, but I don't have time for that anymore. So I haven't really been playing WoW a lot over the course of the past couple of months. The next question is coming in from Zach, who writes, Dear Nero, do you think YouTubers spin a false narrative on certain guns being OP instead of just being overused, like the Amos or even the Rival from Modern Warfare 3? So Zach and everyone else listening here, I mean, you guys are here this far into a Dear Nero in 2025. I think it's time that most of you, I guess most of you already know this, but if you don't, allow me to let you guys in on a little bit of a secret here. When people say, like, this is a new gun, it's a new meta, it's OP, it's this, that, and the other, it's all clickbait, man. It's there to get views. And that's not me like poking fun. Like, look at the titles and the thumbnails on my channel. Like, if you know, you know. You have to make your titles and your thumbnails a certain way to get attention. That's how you get views. That's how you do your job. If you want to get your message across, you can do that, but you're going to have a pretty spicy title and a thumbnail to get people to even click on it in the first place. That's how that works. That's the YouTube game. Do I like it? No, but that's what you have to do to get by in 2025, where everybody and their mother and their dog are also content creators gunning for your position, right? So that's just how that works. And so when people are saying like, oh, the Amos is OP, or then the Kilo's OP, oh my god, the one-shot HDR in Warzone's ridiculous, it's the most broken meta setup in the world. That's what people click on. Ultimately, at the end of the day, when you see people that are doing well on YouTube and you see the way their thumbnails are constructed or the way their titles are constructed or whatever, that's because that's what they have to do to get by. That's the very nature of it. The days of back in the day where you just type in, you know, Black Ops 6, 35-2, Team Deathmatch using the C9, and then in parentheses, you put your little commentary topic in there. Those days are gone. They're gone, they're dead, and they're buried. So do they put a false narrative out there? Sure, but at the end of the day, they're trying to create content for the game and entertain their viewers while also collecting enough money to hopefully pay their bills. That's what it comes down to. The next question is coming in from Coffee Man, who writes, Dear Nero, hope you have a blessed Easter with family. Just to get to know you a little better, what would you say are your top 3 to 5 favorite shows and movies? So this is the craziest thing about my name here. So the name NerosCinema actually was a copy of old channels back back in the day. Like when I first made my channel back in 2011, there were a ton of YouTube channels like Hazard Cinema, for example. Like everyone just had like cinema in their name. Like every normal name was taken. I couldn't just have youtube.com/Nero. It had to be Nero something, right? And just cinema sounded cool. In retrospect, it was kind of stupid given the fact that I have a speech impediment. So I'm saying Nero's Cinema. It doesn't really work out that well with how I do my S's, but regardless, it's worked. I mean, a guy with a speech impediment has like 5,000 videos here on YouTube and has been doing it professionally for 14 years. I think I did pretty freaking okay. But going back to it, my name is NerosCinema, but I don't really watch movies. My girlfriend has seen every show and every movie under the sun, whereas I can't even tell you the last movie I watched. The last movie I watched in theaters? Good God. I think we all went to see the Sonic movie years ago, maybe the Mario movie before that. Like, I'm not really much of a movie guy, but in terms of favorite shows and everything, the Fallout show, you guys know I love Fallout. The Fallout show is incredible. In fact, I watched it with my brother, and Courtney saw it, and then my brother's girlfriend, and like it was just like, I think we're all going to rewatch it together because I'm sure there's so many like little things that we never picked up on. And then other series like Hill House and Bly Manor, both of those were fantastic. Didn't really care for Midnight Mass nearly as much. I like nostalgic stuff as well. Like a little known fact about me, like, again, I listen to Fallout music all day, every day. I also watch like the same TV shows, like comfort shows almost all the time. So I've seen every episode of King of the Hill probably 10 plus times, and Simpsons especially as well. A little bit of Family Guy, like kind of like the it's not really adult cartoons, I guess, but what do you call them? Like Simpsons, Family Guy, King of the Hill, like that kind of stuff. Like I enjoy those shows quite a bit. And then even more nostalgic stuff, like we went back and rewatched all of the original Are You Afraid of the Darks? Because when I was a kid, I grew up like on satellite television and Nickelodeon. And whenever Are You Afraid of the Dark would come on, like that intro cutscene was just like ridiculously spooky for a kid. And I'd always like quickly flip the channel. I'm like, oh no, not that show, you know? And so as adults, we decided to go back and watch it. And we watched the entire original run of the series. And it was like, yeah, that was pretty spooky for kids, but as an adult, it was just kind of entertaining and very 90s nostalgia. Like, I don't know, the outfits. I think it was filmed in Canada, so it was just like 90s Canada almost. It was just, it was fun to go through. But in terms of movies, like all-time favorite movies and stuff like that, I really don't have a ton, to be perfectly honest. I would say The Shining is my favorite overall. I literally have a Room 237 key. I like all the old 80s slashers, you know, all the Friday the 13th, Halloween's, Nightmare on Elm Streets. Some more recent ones, I actually watched it in Blame Truth's live stream years and years ago. It was the first time I ever saw No Country for Old Men, and that was freaking fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed that movie as well. But just in general, I don't watch a ton of movies. I would say it has been more than 6 months since I properly sat down and watched a movie, which is pretty freaking bad, I suppose. But hopefully that answers your question at least a little bit, and hopefully now you get to know me a little bit better. The next question is coming in from Mohab. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, who writes, Dear Nero, well, you make videos like Black Ops 2 15 years later, in which you play older games and speak about your favorite things and hateful things about it and the current state of the game, and maybe invite fans to fill out some lobbies with you. I think it's a good change. I've done those in the past. In fact, if you type in NerosCinema Return to, I think I have a Return to video for virtually every single Call of Duty game, but they're also a little bit outdated. I suppose not really a lot has changed between that video and now, but just for sheer content and just fun and like doing something, especially now, like when we have a really slow news cycle, like what we have right now, videos like that could definitely, you know, fill the gap a little bit, I suppose, and also take people on that trip down memory lane. And it's also fun just to go back and explore those games like I talked about earlier. So yeah, I think it's a good idea, and I'll probably do something similar to that in the relatively near future, so stay tuned. The next question is coming in from Miami Mark, which, by the way, this guy was featured on a lot of the original Dear Neros like 10 years ago, for crying out loud, which is freaking crazy. But he writes, Dear Nero, happy Easter to you as well. A very broad question, but what have you been up to recently outside of the YouTube career? And also, will you ever sell those socks again? I was a broke college student the first time. All the best, been watching since Modern Warfare 3, back when I was a middle schooler. So that's pretty freaking wild right there. What he's referring to are Nero socks, one of a kind KD improving footwear. Basically, the sock company reached out to me. We made socks with the Nero logo and the NerosCinema colors and everything like that, and I sold them, and didn't really sell a whole lot. I think like only like 30 or so pairs actually sold, but some people still have them. I know I do. I know my mom's got a pair, for crying out loud. But to answer the question, what have you been up to recently outside of the YouTube career? Not really a whole lot, man. YouTube does take up a lot of your time, especially if you're streaming on top of that. So my life basically consists of the exact same thing every single day, and I kind of like that, but at the same time I feel kind of stagnated at times as well. So like normally my day, I wake up, and usually it's my girlfriend calling me because she's like getting ready for her lunch break at work, and normally we'll either go for a walk, take the dogs for a walk, maybe run to the grocery store, maybe grab lunch or whatever, and then she goes back to work and I start working on a video, or maybe I live stream. She gets off of work, and then from there multiplayer, we either, again, go for another walk. We're kind of really big into that right now, especially now that the weather's getting better. Maybe go out to dinner, maybe go to some event or something if there's something happening in our town, which is actually pretty rare, and then we kind of like go our separate ways. I come home, I start working on my videos, I probably live stream again. I normally stream almost twice a day anymore, and then eventually I make my way to bed and I wake up and I do the same thing the next day. Like, it's not the most glamorous, like crazy life in the world, but at the end of the day, if you're like a video game YouTuber, most of your time is spent in your office at your computer, for crying out loud. Like, I'm not out here like vlogging like, what's up guys, today we're in the Philippines and tomorrow we're over in, I don't know, freaking Ireland and we're doing this and that and the other and we're at Coachella, isn't this crazy? Like, man, I'm a Call of Duty YouTuber. I play video games and I make videos and I sit in my office all day. I could definitely think of way worse ways to spend my time though, so I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, and hopefully Mark, you're doing well as well, because again, I definitely recognize your name and you've been around for a freaking long time. The next and final question is coming in from a fantastic zombies YouTuber named Joe Met123, who writes, Dear Nero, will you ever turn to the Mets over the Pirates? You'll still suffer, just a bit less. And real question, do you enjoy zombies or multiplayer more as of late? So, okay, I'm a Pirates fan, but I'm not a good Pirates fan. I don't pay attention to every single game or anything like that. Like, I don't like strictly follow it, but if you're a Pirates fan, why would you, for crying out loud? It's freaking miserable most of the time. But will I be switching? Absolutely not. If anything, it's a giant green flag, or maybe it's actually more of a red flag, I suppose. So I'm a Browns fan and a Pirates fan. So both my teams are freaking terrible. So I make bad choices, but I'm at least loyal to my bad choices. So, I mean, beige flag there, maybe? I don't know. And do I enjoy zombies or multiplayer more as of late? I would say zombies, actually. Like, multiplayer for me with skill-based matchmaking and all that, and especially after having gotten Dark Matter and Prestige Master, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, multiplayer just feels so dead to me right now. It just feels like it's not really that interesting, or it's not really much for me to grind for. So we've been doing a lot of stuff in Verdansk, just, something new, like having my friends come back and play and whatnot. We're dicking around with that. But zombies in general is very chill, very enjoyable. And the new map, admittedly, I haven't played a whole lot of it, but it has been pretty good so far. And I'm already seeing a bunch of polls and everything, and people saying it's actually the best zombies map in Black Ops 6, which is pretty freaking crazy. So I'd say zombies is doing well. Warzone's obviously killing it. It's just like multiplayer just feels like so stale right now. And that might just be a me thing. Maybe I'm just freaking burnt out. I have no idea, but I definitely see a lot of you guys agreeing in the comments of my videos as well. So maybe it's somewhere in between. Like, maybe the multiplayer is fine, but maybe people are actually just getting burnt out on the same thing over and over. Maybe because every single game feels relatively the same, which we talked about earlier. It could be a whole combination of things. So ladies and gentlemen, I can feel my voice going recording this video. I have no idea how long it's going to be or how long it's going to take to edit together, but I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening to this video here today, and thank you so much for your continued support of my channel and supporting me, obviously. It's pretty freaking awesome. I'm still able to do this after all this time. My 14-year anniversary on YouTube is coming up in July, which is freaking mind-blowing to think about. So every now and then, it's pretty fun to do one of these Q&A videos, and hopefully it made for some nice background noise as you guys are doing whatever it is you guys are doing in your lives, and hopefully you guys all had a very happy Easter as well. But for right now, I'm going to wrap up this video here today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.